Some people think that loneliness is an emotion, like a feeling that happens when you don't have enough friends. But loneliness is more than that. It's a biological state. It changes how your brain functions, how you think, how you react, and how you relate to people. When you've been disconnected too long, you start to misread situations. You imagine rejection that isn't there, or you can't recognize kindness that is there. You feel on edge around people, or you go blank and stop feeling anything at all. And this is especially common for women because the female brain is more tuned to social contact, and it's more affected when that's missing. If you've been alone for a while, you maybe notice that it starts to change you. It can feel strange, and you start forgetting small things. You find yourself talking less, then worrying about what you said when you do talk, and you replay old interactions, or you avoid new interactions because it feels exhausting. So you might tell yourself that you like being on your own, and sometimes you do, but deep down, it starts to feel like you're just disappearing. And this isn't just an emotional thing. It's the impact of chronic stress without enough connection to counter it. Now, when connection is missing, cortisol rises, thinking narrows, and emotion either spills over or shuts off. You kind of lose the middle ground where relationships can live. So I had a period of about 18 months where I was very alone. My marriage had ended. I was raising my 2 kids and working from home on a kind of rural street. And I realized that almost all my friendships were hollow. I had a lot of friendships, but no one who I really felt close to. And because I wanted to change, I just stopped putting energy into them, and they basically just drifted off. But the new people who would fit my life better and, who I am, I hadn't found any of them yet. Now, at first, my isolation was productive. I was working on myself, focusing on my kids, making our lives more stable, healthier, more ordered. But then I kind of dragged my feet on getting back out there and making some friends. I didn't know where to start on that at all. And I started to notice that when I did hang out with people, I was struggling a bit. I was rusty. I didn't know how to talk to them. It was awkward. My attempts to make small talk would sort of fall flat. It was just weird. And I'd make a joke and no one would laugh, which I hate. And I felt rigid inside, like I was made of wood. And whereas I used to feel ease with people, being alone all the time made me feel like I couldn't read them at all. Like other people seemed like they were speaking the same language to each other, they were connecting, but I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a memo, a translator. So here's the thing that most people miss. Loneliness doesn't just hurt emotionally, it alters how your brain manages information about people. When connection is working well, different parts of your brain keep each other balanced. One part helps you stay calm and think clearly. That's the prefrontal cortex. Another part notices threats, the amygdala. And then a third helps you interpret what's happening between you and other people. That's the anterior cingulate, which tracks tone, expression, and emotion. Now, they're meant to work together. You notice something, you feel it, you think about it, you respond. It's quick and it's mostly automatic. And when it's balanced, you can tell the difference between a real problem and, just a passing moment. When you've been isolated or under chronic stress, that rhythm, that communication between parts of your brain sort of falls apart. The threat center starts taking over, even when nothing dangerous is happening. The thinking part goes quiet. So you misread tone, you imagine rejection, or you take small conflicts as proof that you just don't belong. You react fast and strong before you've had a chance to see what's actually going on. Now, for women, research shows that imbalance develops faster than it does in men because estrogen and oxytocin heighten sensitivity to social feedback. When connection is good, those hormones support bonding and stress recovery. When connection is missing, the same sensitivity amplifies stress and Self-criticism. Sounds familiar, right? That's why so many women in chronic loneliness report the same paradox. You crave closeness, but you feel confused and overwhelmed when you actually get it. So how do you start changing this pattern? Well, first, notice what's happening in your body when the urge to isolate hits. Do you feel heavy, frozen, irritated, or blank? That's the moment to interrupt it, not by forcing interaction, but by getting regulated first. You can move your body, step outside, do something that reminds you you're still part of the world. If you really want a long-term method to start regulating, you can use my daily practice techniques. It helps you in the moment, but it also builds up a strength. It's like a workout for your ability to stay regulated and connected. And that is a free course I offer. I'll put a link to that down below in the description section, top row. Second, restore function before attempting to get closer with people. When you're clearer, reach for low pressure contact, a short conversation, a shared task, a little thing, a brief visit. Instead of trying to get as much connection as you possibly can, you're letting your brain just sort of practice interaction without overloading it, not at first at least. Third, keep an honest eye on the habits that keep you alone. Maybe you cancel at the last minute, or you freeze up and say nothing when someone is kind to you. So don't be hard on yourself if this happens, but notice it and name it and make a plan to step up your responses a little more each day, even if you have to write like a note card to yourself about what to say when somebody's kind. Why, thank you. That feels great. All right, so patterns lose power when you name them. Fourth, remember that connection doesn't only happen through talk. Doing things connects you. Cooking beside someone, working near people, volunteering. These experiences reintroduce the rhythm of interaction and shared attention, where you're both thinking about the same thing. Now, both of these help your brain rebalance emotional tone. These may seem like tiny things, but they're what actually moves the needle. Extended loneliness changes how the brain manages stress and attention, but those changes aren't locked in. The same pathways that adapt to disconnection can adjust again through real contact and regulation. Now, if you struggle with feeling connected with people, that could very likely be a trauma symptom. It's not entirely psychological. It could be neurological. If you want to know if you show signs that early trauma in your life may be affecting the way you connect, I have a connection quiz. I'll put that down below in the description section too. I'll put that in the second line. Have a look at that. See if that may be what's happening with you. There's lots of things you can do. So in women, the shift to being more connectable again can take longer because the parts of the brain that track social cues are just more responsive to the loss of them. That sensitivity can make re-entry into connection feel uncomfortable or draining at first. But this is the turning point. With steady regulation and small, consistent contact, the brain starts to quiet the old alarms and support connection again. That's what sets up the next stage of recovery. The hardest part about coming back from loneliness is how slow it feels. You expect to feel better once you're around people, but your brain doesn't catch up right away. So give yourself a break. You might still feel flat or tense or unsure how to act, and that's all normal. It's part of recalibration. The correction starts small. You get regulated before you interact. You keep things short and concrete. You focus on being present, not trying to impress anyone. That's what helps your brain stop treating connection like danger. Now, over time, ordinary contact starts to feel more natural. This is what recovery from loneliness looks like. It's not dramatic, it's steady, but gosh, it makes a huge difference in your life. You build tolerance for connection the same way that you build strength after an injury, through repetition, patience, and consistency. Now, every time you stay calm enough to see what's real, you're restoring the parts of your brain that make closeness with people possible, that let you become socially attuned. That's how you come back from isolation, one connected moment at a time. If you like this video, I've got one that you're going to love right here, and I'll see you very soon. Their mom just died, and instead of giving them some empathy, you tell a long story about what happened when your mom died. And I know that's intended as a way to feel connected and show that you do understand, but it's a telltale sign that listening empathically was not something done enough for you.